I've had to cut ties with many people, and it's not an easy thing to do. And sometimes, it's easier to just let things slide and try to forget what you can and put up with what you need to put up with. And, but I've never been one to be too scared or cowardly to put my foot down and tell somebody or anybody or anything when enough is enough. Welcome to my channel. Hi everybody, welcome to my channel and welcome to, I guess this would be what I would call My Food Fads, another episode of My Food Fads, and I'm here to give you just a little brief update on how I'm doing after my lemonade cleanse. Just letting you know that I have a couple more vlogs coming that takes you with me shopping and making my first meal and whatever have you. They're coming up soon, but I decided to do this one first just because I'm still editing those. And I wanted to let you know that my appetite really has not improved too much, although I have had animal protein a couple of times, and I'm not finding that I'm at all as hungry as I usually am after coming off the lemonade cleanse. I can feel that I've actually lost even more inches around my waist and stomach area since coming off the lemonade cleanse, and that would be because basically, even though I haven't been able to get out and exercise much, I really have not had that big of an appetite. Essentially, what I've been having are warm vegetable soups at night and maybe some crackers and dip for lunch if I feel like having it. A lot of raw fruit and vegetable, and that's basically about it. Purging my body of toxins. I'm sort of doing the same thing for other things in real life as well. And so I don't know if you know exactly what I mean, but I've been taking a good long look at things around me and deciding what's worth keeping and what I should toss. Now, I'm not cleaning out my closets. I've already done that. But I am going through the pantry and throwing out old food that I know I purchased exactly a year ago today And after having eaten as much of it as I can, I really have to get going and throw out all that bad food that could cause me issues if I keep them in my pantry any longer. I'm also talking about stores, institutions, things that I frequent, and things that I no longer have a valid use for, or places that make me squeamish or feel uncomfortable. Yeah, I'm kind of purging my life of all the toxic people and places in order to reduce the stress that I'm feeling. So, cleaning out your fridge is a little like cleaning out your life. You want to get rid of the things that are going to make you sick and suffer, and keep the things that are going to help you renew and revitalize your physical health. It's out with the old and in with the new, so to speak. I guess a few of my older relationships have taught me how to do this with everything. And as you know from some of my story times, I've basically had to cut ties, cut people loose from my life in order to survive and live in peace. And sometimes that's very hard to do, especially if you've spent a lot of time with certain people or a certain person and become attached and care for them deeply. I've had to cut ties with many people, and it's not an easy thing to do. And sometimes, it's easier to just let things slide and try to forget what you can and put up with what you need to put up with. And, but I've never been one to be too scared or cowardly to put my foot down and tell somebody or anybody or anything when enough is enough. Fortunately, I haven't had to do that in a few years now. The last time I did it, it was very painful for me to discover that I didn't always have the same image in other people's eyes as they had in my eyes. I was not as self-esteemed, highly esteemed as they were. And that was hard for me to take. Once I was over that hurdle, it became very easy to cut loose all the toxic ties that were bringing me a lot of suffering and pain and giving me nothing but grief. But never is a long time. And I always keep in the back of my mind that I still love and care for some of these people very deeply. And it will be impossible for me to completely sever all the ties that I ever had with them. I just can't do it completely. And I feel sometimes that the best way to approach a stale friendship is to think of it as a delectable piece of fruit. Pop it in your mouth, chew it up, and swallow it, just like you would with pride. Yes, sometimes I find that's very essential and necessary for me to do in order to keep mind of peace with myself and with other people who have been important to me in my past. I cannot completely let go of them. So sometimes it's easier to swallow your pride and try to get on with life as peacefully and happily and calmly as you can. And that's really the way that I like to live my life. I don't like to keep looking back into the past. And there are some things that are hard to figure out and that you have to sort of question and maybe have a dialogue with somebody you don't really want to in order to clear up that confusion and maintain that peace. And sometimes you have to do that. Talks are very necessary, aren't they? Have you ever had a falling out with somebody and then suddenly realized when you're in a very bad situation and you need their help, and they're probably the only person in the whole world that can actually help you at that time? How does that make you feel? That's why I don't like being on the bad side of people. And I really, I hate being misunderstood. And so I try to clarify myself as often as I can or as often as needed in order that people don't misinterpret my words or actions. Some friendships just have to go as easily as they can, and it's often better not to hang on to these abusive and contradictory and deceptive friendships that you once thought might have been conducive to your life. If it's not going to help you and if it's going to hinder you, don't keep it. Don't hang on to it. Don't want to hang on to resentment, but swallow that pride sometimes. Sometimes it's very necessary to swallow your pride and put forth that positive foot and try to start off on a clean slate. And you know what? As often as I've wanted to say, well, that's it, I give up. I'm giving up trying to figure out this establishment or this group of people or this person. I totally give up. I think we should always try to keep an open mind. And no matter how difficult people have been with you in the past, try to retain that inner strength and, swallow that pride and try to make amends and see if you can actually clear the air. Because sometimes it's just not worth carrying on with that animosity and that hostility that could lead to a big buildup of very negative and very bad vibes. Thank you for listening and watching.